Hey, fourth grade, how's everybody doing today? At the end of last week's lesson, what we did was we added the note low D to our list of notes. And I'm going to go over a couple notes because the song we're going to do today is a bit of a doozy. In fact, that's one of the reasons why I'm only giving you one song to work on today. There's kind of a lot involved with it. So, quick recap on some of the notes we're going to need. This song's going to start out with A and B. Now, those should be two notes that you know super duper well. A is two fingers plus the thumb. B, we just lift up that middle. We're left with pointer finger and thumb on that left hand. After that, we add C to the mix, our high C. That's going to be thumb and middle finger. And then we're also going to bring back a note that we haven't played in a couple weeks, and that's going to be F. The way we get F is we have 1, 2, 3 on the left hand, 1 and 3 on the right hand. And the big thing that makes FF is this right here, that middle hole is not going to be covered up. It's got to be open or you're not going to get the note F. One thing that we've talked about, and I said to make sure you're putting down the right hand fingers the correct way, because we may have to watch out for something in the future. This is the future. This is the day that we were kind of thinking about. What we were keeping in mind is that when we played things like F, we wanted to make sure we were using the right hand pointer and ring, because we may have to switch between F and E, and we're going to want that middle finger to go right there, or F and D, and all we'd have to do to get from F to D is putting that middle finger down right there, okay? We always want to make sure that this first hole that the right hand takes on is pointer fingers hole, middle fingers, ring fingers, and we haven't gotten down to this one yet. That'll be within the next couple weeks. Not next week, but maybe after that. Those are the ones we add on. We have that F. We're also going to need E, which is 1, 2, 3, 1, 2. And then we're also going to use the low D from last week. 1, 2, 3 in the left, 1, 2, 3 in the right. There is no high D in this song, which means anytime I tell you we're going to play D, it's going to be the low version, the one that's notated right underneath the staff. And it also means that we don't take the thumb off that hole on the bottom. Every note we are going to play is going to need that thumb there. Okay, so the song that we're focusing in on today is on page 19. It's called Japanese Folk Song. Okay, and we had some issues with page 19 at the beginning of the year. So you may have printed, I hope you didn't, but you may have printed a version where some of the lines on the staff are missing. And if that's the case, then I would ask you to go ahead and write the pitches in as we go through this. Normally we don't do that, but if you have a version of this song where the pitches aren't readable, then obviously you kind of have to make do with that. Hopefully everybody who's watching this has a video where your music staff has 5 lines and 4 spaces. It looks totally normal, and you have absolutely no idea what I'm talking about. If your music staff looks normal, good news. You don't have to do anything except just kind of follow along. All right, so in Japanese folk song, the first 2 measures are exactly the same. We're going to have 2 quarter notes on that second space A, followed by a half note on B. And we play that twice in a row. It's going to go like this. It's going to sound like this. I'm going to give you a count off so we can practice those together. Here we go. 1, 2, ready, go. The idea. Very, very easy. Now it's actually the measures 3 and 4 on each line that are going to get a little bit rough. So let's dive into the third measure on line 1. Here we've got second space A going to third line B, going to third space C, and then back to that B again. Still not bad. So again, if you are somebody who had to write in these notes, that third measure is going to read A, B, C, B. Okay? Feel free to pause me and write that down. For the rest of us, we're moving on. Now that's all quarter notes, so we're going to play everything very even. I'll slow that one down a little bit from the beginning, but it's going to sound like this. Still not too bad because we're not bringing the right hand in yet, but we do have to switch between the B and the C, which, you know, you really want to support with the right hand to make that a little easier. So measure 3, let's try and put that all together, okay? Just measure 3, A, B, C, B. 1, 2, here we go. Okay, and you want to have a really good grip on that because this measure 4 is a bit tricky, okay? First of all, your rhythm is a little bit different. We're going from quarter notes to eighth notes to a half note, okay? And the rhythm for that is going to be performed like this. Quarter note, eighth notes, half note is the one that we kind of hold out that long beat on. So your quarter note is A. Your eighth notes are B and A. So let's start with just that before we try to bring in the last note in the half note in the measure. It's gonna go A, B, A. 1, 2, 3, 4. Okay. Okay. The last one we put on there, that half note, that's going to be down in the first space. That's going to be our F. So what we want to do is we want to take that first finger, that third finger on the right hand. We're going to have them ready to drop down. They're just kind of hanging out over there, ready to drop down. And we also want to kind of put the air a little bit more softly through our instrument because the more holes that we have to cover, the softer it needs to be. All right. Super slow on this one, and then I'm gonna give you a play along that's a little tiny bit less super slow, but still not super fast either. So it'll sound like this: A, B, A, F. Okay, here I go. 1, 2, 3, 4. Okay, and I'll give you just one more to try. Not quite as slow, still a little bit slow. 1, 2, 3, 4. Okay, once you kind of feel like you have all of those measures dialed in, let's try a read through of that entire top line. A, B, A, B, A, B, C, B, A, B, A, F. Okay, we're going to go pretty slow this first time through. 1, 2, 3, 4. That's what your first line is going to sound like, okay? Now, because we've been moving through this at a pretty slow pace, I don't want you to worry that this is going to take us forever and a day to master. It's not. But we do get to kind of borrow to put together the first two measures on the second line. This is going to be just your AAB again. I'm not even going to give you a playthrough because at this point, you've played AAB several times already. You probably have a pretty good grip on them, and even if you didn't, you probably paused it, rewound it, and tried it again. So we're going to skip all the way to line 2, measure 3. Okay, now this is going to be 3 notes in a row that all use that right hand coming in. The good news is they are all in a row, so it kind of makes it easier to hear our way through. Now we start with the D underneath the staff, all 3 fingers on each hand. Well, not all 3, but 3 here, 3 here. Then we go to E. All we do to get from D to E is we lift that ring finger. Now we have 1, 2, 3 in the left, 1, 2 in the right. And then finally we land on that F, which of course is a little bit tricky, but if you go slow, kind of work through it at your own pace, it's doable. Okay, this one I'm going to give you at 3 different tempos. Ridiculously slow, still pretty slow, and then kind of up to what we played so far. Okay, so here's ridiculously slow. D, E, F. 1, 2, 3, 4. Okay, here's pretty slow. 1, 2, 3, 4. Okay, now here is the tempo that we're going to want to take the song at when we get to this in a minute. Okay, D, E, F, one more time. 1, 2, 3, 4. Now, of course, if you get to that one and it's tough, go back. Do the slow one, do the really slow one, whatever it takes to kind of get it comfortable. All right, the very last measure in this, same deal, in a different order though, 3 different types of notes: eighth notes, quarter note, half note. Okay, now our pitches here are going to be B, A, F, E is our ending spot, okay? Last measure is B, A, F, E, for those people who can't read their staff on their paper and are writing all this down, okay? So all together, it's going to sound like this. This is another one I'll give you at 3 speeds: ridiculously slow, kind of slow, and where we want to be able to play it, okay? So B, A, F, E, okay? And remember, B, A is easy enough, B, A. F, we've got to throw down the ring finger on the left hand, pointer on the right, ring on the right, okay? And then to get from F to E, we just trade out the ring for the middle, okay? B, A, F, E. Here we go. Here's the super slow version. 1, 2, 3, 4. And we almost kind of get a little bit of a built-in slowdown. We've kind of done that in class before, mostly for dramatic effect, when a song kind of slows down to show the audience that this thing is ending, okay? So here's your pretty slow version. B, A, F, E. 1, 2, 3, 4. And here's your normal-ish version. 1, 2, 3, 4. Okay, now I'm only going to give you one version for the play along, and it's going to be kind of in the middle there. We don't want it to be, you know, absurdly slow, takes us 5 minutes just to play through 2 lines of this song, but we also don't want it to be blazing fast. I want it to be something that you guys can play along with. So we're going to take it right about here. A, B. So that beginning part's going to be easy enough, but it's also going to be slow enough that when we get to the trickier parts, you're going to be able to hang with them. The other thing I'll remind you is if you get to this part of the video and you don't feel like you can put all 8 measures together, rewind, try the individual parts again, work your way up to it, okay? I'm going to leave you here at about 15 minutes. And remember, our music lessons right now are supposed to take about 22 minutes. And I'm doing that because I want to build in time for you guys to be able to rewind and try it again, not to eat up your entire day just watching me sit here and yap. All right, so here is our complete version of the song, Japanese folk song, starting on A. 1, 2, 3, 4. And that's our ending, okay? Yours should sound more or less like that. All right, guys, excellent work. I know you probably think that when we come on next week, we're going to be adding another note that uses every finger you've got, but no, we're going to give it a little bit. We're going to kind of recap some of the notes that we've spent time with, and we could stand to get to know a little bit better, okay? In the meantime, be well. See you next week.